Well, since Donald Trump won the election, there's one word that we've heard a lot.
Retribution.
Yes, I was going to say revenge, but you, of course, being a lawyer, took it to the next level.
That was the word Trump used.
Yeah, he did. Actually, he did use the word retribution. And that, once he is in the White House, and we've seen some signs of this already with some of the appointees, cabinet appointees, that he is going to be looking to get even with people he feels did him wrong. In particular, people who were involved in the January 6th committee. And he has said, made it very clear that Liz Cheney is on that list. Do people who are on that committee have good reason to be fearful?
Well, there was somebody on that committee who is now elevated to the United States Senate.
Exactly. Adam Schiff was, at the time, a congressman. He is now won election as a senator from California. Senator Schiff, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Thanks. Great to be with you.
So let's start with Donald Trump's statements about Liz Cheney breaking the law and should be held accountable for it. Your name has been mentioned in that same sentence along with Adam Kinzinger and several others. Is there cause for fear here that this may actually happen, or do you think it was just election talk?
Well, first of all, I think Liz Cheney is a profile in courage. She and Benny Thompson did an excellent job leading the January 6th committee. And I think what made those hearings so powerful is that almost all the witnesses were Republicans, and they came forward because Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger served on that committee. So they played an indispensable role, and I think one they're very proud of and should be proud of, as I am. In terms of whether we should be concerned about the Trump rhetoric about jailing his opponents, look, the guy's going to be president, so you can't completely disregard what he says. And some of the people he's picking, like Kash Patel, their only qualification seems to be utter sycophancy towards Donald Trump. So you can't exclude any possibility. Nevertheless, I have confidence in our system. And, I'm going to make sure that I do what I can from the Senate to maintain a Justice Department that isn't there simply doing the president's political persecution wish list, but rather addressing issues of crime and public safety and smash and grab robberies and all the other issues that voters raised during the election.
If Joe Biden were to offer you a blanket pardon with the prospect of Donald Trump doing what he had suggested, would you take it? Would you advocate for it? Would you want it?
I've been advocating that the president not grant broad pardons to members of his administration or members of Congress. I don't think that's the precedent that we want to set. It will certainly invite Donald Trump, when he leaves office, to issue very broad pardons. Now, he may do that. Trump may do that anyway on his way out the door. But I just think it's a precedent we don't want to set. And I would say also it's just unnecessary. On the January 6th committee, as I mentioned, we're very proud of the work that we did and confident of the work we did.
We've been talking now for however many minutes about retribution and revenge and, Donald Trump going after his political enemies. Is Congress going to be able to do any actual work, or is this, it just seems like the only thing people are talking about is that instead of things that the American public actually really care about?
I think we're going to be able to get things done, and we really have to. We can't simply say, okay, we're going to wait 4 years until this is over to address housing prices or the lack of adequate child care or health insurance premiums or the lack of someone to insure your home for fire in California. We're going to have to solve these problems, and we have to do it now. I've been very encouraged now. I've only been in the Senate for about a week and a half, but it seems to be a very different culture in the Senate, one of a willingness to find people across the aisle, work together. I've had innumerable meetings already with Republican and Democratic senators where we've identified, hey, let's work together on this.
Jeff Bezos is going down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. And Mark Zuckerberg has already done it. Tim Cook is on that list, obviously Elon Musk. Do you have feelings about these tech giants, especially currying favor right now? I suppose that's the way of the world, but it is pretty interesting.
It's very interesting. I do have a lot of concerns that we're kind of on the road towards oligarchy, it feels like sometimes, particularly given the role the dominant role Elon Musk is playing in everything. Elon Musk is someone who has, in his work with SpaceX, for example, some of the largest government contracts. Is he going to be a neutral body advising the president where to make cuts, where not to make cuts, or where there's a competition for major contracts? There seems to be a lot of room for just flagrant conflicts of interest. But more than that, I think we saw in the Washington Post decision, you mentioned Jeff Bezos, Amazon owner of Bezos, owner of the Washington Post, deciding not to make an endorsement. It sounds like it had largely been written in favor of Kamala Harris, but withheld. Hard to imagine that wasn't influenced by the business interests of Amazon, because, Bezos has to understand that if his paper editorialized against Donald Trump, Trump would potentially punish his businesses. Now, we haven't had that kind of situation in the pre-Trump era where a president would essentially try to punish companies who said things about him that he didn't like or had a editorial he didn't like. But that is, I think, sadly, a sign of things to come.
Well, Richard Nixon might qualify that.
Yeah.
He might have I'm old enough to remember that.
Yes. Yeah. That